It's being popular. People are listening to it like a podcast, which is really nice. And
It's brilliant. I use it as my time. It's for
mm,
me that well, whether it's 45 minutes or an hour or however long it is, when I go to walk my girls or when I'm on a walk on my own, that's my time. So I stick my
yeah,
earpods in and I know, okay, this podcast is going to take 45 minutes, then I go for it. And I
mm,
use that time because that's when I really sort of I'm in nature and I'm really absorbed. So even though I'm not watching the video as such, because I'm listening, it's it's lovely. It's amazing. It's yeah, it's really it's powerful what people are saying.
yeah, it's lovely conversations, and yeah, I just wanted to inspire people, and yeah,
Oh,
so
well, you do
yeah.
that anyway, but
Oh,
you're doing
thank
it
you.
on a bigger scale, which is incredible because I I know we've discussed this before, but I definitely think there's been a huge shift. And in 2025, I'm feeling that more and more people, like it's less
Mm.
what I do and maybe what you do is less odd. For some, it
Yeah,
feels like a switch where people are more accepting of
yeah,
it. And I
yeah.
feel like I'm not justifying myself or
Mm.
having to really like try and get someone's attention on, oh, FYI, when they ask what I do,
Yeah,
I fumble my words because there's a element of embarrassment or
yeah,
I'm not sure how you're going to take this really, but okay, here goes.
yeah.
There's a shift. I now just say what I do, and people are like, oh, cool. Wow,
Yeah.
that's interesting. They're more
Yeah.
intrigued.
Do you want to introduce who you are, what your star sign is? I'd like to have your star sign. Maybe you could share your rising and your moon as well. And what do you do?
Okay, so my name's Marisela, and I am a Libra Sun, Gemini rising,
Mm.
Sag moon. Well, I'm actually a Libra Scorpio cusp, so I've got
Mm.
double air, water, and fire in my sign. So
Mm.
it I'll probably come back round to this, but grounding is very important to me because I'm not grounded at all. Um, and I am a green witch and I work in Buckinghamshire from my little hut. And I reach people online or you come and see me. And I have three different offerings because I'm a yoga teacher, I'm a silversmith, cacaoista, so I serve cacao and different medicines. And I'm also a folk herbalist. And I'm also in my kind of last year of training in that, in full-time study. So that's what I
Amazing.
do.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you already touched on it that like that you think this year is this like awakening or this sort of realization that we're not all weird. We're actually, when we're dabbling into or interested in spirituality or witchcraft, it's not scary anymore. Have you sort of struggled with that in the past? Have you struggled with like, coming out? Have you,
Pretty
how
much,
long have
yes.
you actually said the name witch? How long have you used that word?
Confidently this year, I've used that word, but I've skirted around that word since you've known me because we
Yeah.
met in 2020.
Yeah.
And I was so secretly so enamored with
Mm.
your confidence and how I was just like, I really wish I could do that. I really wish I could say out loud my beliefs and what I love to do and what I do believe in. Um, but this is how the witch wound has affected me, essentially, is being really uncomfortable in my own skin. And that comes from years of
Mm.
being, when I was younger, being at school,
Yeah.
being maybe the first time I ever noticed that I was different was kids taking the mick out of the colour of my skin and
Mm.
calling me names. And then suddenly I'm being isolated because I'm the odd one out.
Yeah.
So that led to a massive, when I look back, I feel really sorry for my little Marisela. I
Yeah.
like hug her massively. I love her massively because she went through a lot. But from that point, so I would have been about 4 or 5 years old because I remember it clearly in my first preschool, that happening. I was called Pooh Face, and it was just kids pointing at me, going, "Oh, you're Pooh Face, you're Pooh Face," and I couldn't, I don't think I knew what that meant. I thought poo, like poo
Yeah.
poo, and
Yeah.
I remember going home and in tears. And then when it was like, oh, because you're brown color. And I used to spend a lot of time in Venezuela in my mum's home country when I was younger. So I was very dark. I pick up the sun very quick. And that's when I realized, okay, oh my God, I'm not fitting in.
Yeah.
So I would feel uncomfortable. So that led through all of school, doing everything I could to fit in. So I would mask my true self because I didn't want to be weird. I didn't want to be
Yeah.
singled out. And I would observe what the popular girls or the popular
Yeah.
kids were doing. And
Yeah.
I'd mirror that. I'm such a
Yeah.
chameleon.
Yeah. To
I
fit
can
in.
put on any skin, and I became
Yeah.
so good at it. And in fact, so good that it has taken years for me to unmask
Mm.
and understand actually who is Marisela. Like, what actually do you believe in, without trying to look for affirmation from someone else that it's
Yeah.
okay to believe in those things. And that is, I believe, a definite witch wound. It's it's a remembrance that, I was made to feel uncomfortable by someone else's prejudice
Yes.
from
Not safe.
wherever they got it,
Mm.
not safe. Um, and it's been eye-opening for me that that's been, my God, that has led to where I am today. Because through all of that pain,
Yeah.
I think as you get older, and wiser, you
Yeah.
begin to understand, things fall away and time's a healer. But then I'll tell you really quickly, a boy that used to make racist comments to me all the time and make up names, even my name, Marisela, he would make up silly sort of taunts about it. Years later, I'm in the pub with my friends, and he couldn't leave me alone, asking me out, wanted to take me out on a date. And I thought, are you for real? And I remember
Yeah.
thinking, you don't realize how much
It
pain
does
you
come
caused
around.
me.
It does come around. When I was at high school, I got bullied about my hair. And I've got a mole that's quite sort of pronounced here to underneath my nose. And they saw you're a witch and you've got pubic hair in your head. And no, it's just awful. And then how it's weird now that when I started, sort of coming out to space and sharing my social media, the one thing people pick up on is, oh my God, I love your hair. And I find that really weird because I'm like, well, I've grown up with trying to sort it out or trying to straighten it and I can't, or trying to fix it and everyone's like obsessed with it or know me about it. But it's the wound that you're trying to like get rid of, or must be really weird because no one else has got this hair in my school.
Yeah.
And the people that do pick on you are the ones that come out and go, oh, your hair looks so lovely. And you think, you were really vile when I was
Yeah.
about 12.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you look at their life and you think, oh, okay, like,
Yeah,
I've forgiven you now, because
yeah,
I realize you were doing the same as I was. You were trying
yeah,
to fit in.
yeah,
You were trying to be
yeah,
cool. And at
yeah,
that moment in time, being cool meant in the 90s,
yeah,
mocking other kids, or, trying to
yeah.
be hard or whatever.
Sarcastic and yeah, but
Yeah.
it can be
And
really hurtful.
really hurtful. But that definitely built up a resilience. So I like to turn what was negative
Yeah,
into a positive, because I'm dyslexic as well. And that came out that I really struggled at school. And
yeah,
it wasn't through
same.
a lack of trying.
Yeah,
I was really, if I enjoyed a lesson, I knew the subjects I loved and I knew what I was interested in. But anything else, like maths, sadly, and the more patriotic, you know what I'm trying to say,
mhm,
um, the patriarchal system, the archaic system of the education system is maths, science, languages. Well, not everyone, fits that
No.
box. Not everyone is talented in those areas. It can be really difficult, and I would try my hardest. I At weekends I'd sit with my parents and they would do their own homework for me, like writing on pages, and I'd have to, I couldn't tell the analog clock, till I was 14.
No, I still have problems with that.
Do you?
Yeah, still. I can't. It's like if I have if I look at numbers on my phone, I'm trying to work out cooking. I have to look at
Oh,
the hands on the clock to work out. I cannot
yeah,
work it out in my head.
yeah,
There's loads of things that I would like stop to do. Like I in English, they used to make you read out, didn't they? Read out
yes,
print that obviously a dyslexic can't read it in the first place because it's all moving.
no,
You're standing out reading, performing, shaking.
yeah,
Everyone's laughing at you. Everyone's calling you thick, and you can't read or
yeah,
write. And then, like now, obviously, I'm an author. Then people say, "Can you read a section of your book?" I'm like, "No, no, I can't do that. That's terrifying because I'm probably
yeah,
gonna cock up, or I'm probably gonna say something wrong, or
yeah.
yeah, it's scary, really
They
scary."
used to, they a bit similar, that I used to have this defense mechanism. So in maths, I
Mm.
had a maths teacher that used to call me the pianist, because under the table, they'd say, Marisela, what's 5 plus 4? And
Oh,
I'd
you're
hear the
doing?
question and I'm doing this, pardon? And I'd say, pardon,
Yeah,
5 plus 4. And I'd be like, sorry, what?
yeah.
Because I'm
Give you
trying
that
really
time.
hard. And they would say hands on the table, because they
Yeah.
knew that's what I was doing, and then they'd move on. But by that point, people are like laughing at
Yeah.
you, and
Yeah, it
and
wasn't supportive. We didn't have any support in
oh,
the 90s for that.
horrendous. So that
Yeah.
was school, and then later on, definitely just followed what I'd been kind of taught to do. I come from an academic family, so it was kind of a given that I was going to go to college and or sixth form and then go on to university. There was no other path.
No.
I remember saying I really had an interest in hairdressing because I'm very creative. Where I really wasn't very good at maths, I was super good at art. Like I could draw anything that you put in front of me, and I loved art. I love painting, love making. And got to college, got to university, only got a 2-2 at university, and that was because my dissertation, my coursework was worth a first, and my practical, so what I made,
Yeah.
but because my dissertation didn't read at all, basically, they graded me right down.
Yeah.
But by that point, I was like so happy to be out of the education system. And then I fell straight into work, and kind of that capitalist culture of want, and what will give me loads of money so I can buy nice clothes and be
Yeah.
really, all those type of things that you think you want because everyone else wants it, or
Yeah.
that's what you're shown on TV.
Yeah.
And driving a nice car, having a nice house. And
Yeah. Or even getting a
I
mortgage.
did all those.
Even all of
Get a
that.
mortgage.
It's like
Get a
you have to go to
mortgage.
university, got to get a mortgage,
Yeah,
like get married, have children, do this,
yeah. All
have a
those
holiday a
things.
year, have a car and
Yes.
and you're like, I'm kind of gonna go against all of that.
Well, it just, every point I hit on those things, I was met with resistance. Every single thing. So I'd fall in love, get with a guy, and I suppose this goes back to my sort of flowy nature of being a water and air sign. I'm highly emotional, but I'm also one, I can't be still. I
Yeah.
love things to move and change, and I'm the ideas person, but I'm not necessarily one to stick it out. I'll admit that.
I
I
hate routine. I'm like, I've got great ideas, but don't give me the same day every day. I'm so
know
bored.
that, yeah, Groundhog Day. And that's when I realized, so this was another lesson, another remembrance, I suppose, is that I worked out that the guys who liked me were always the guys that would be very flattering and say, oh, you're so beautiful, like I'm so lucky. But if they took me out for dinner, they would say, oh, that's don't eat too much. Like, don't put on too much. Yeah, they would say, don't put, you don't want to order that. Don't put on too much weight. And instantly, I'm like, because I've got this fear from childhood, I want to be liked. I want everyone to like me. I don't want to upset anyone. I'd I'd order the salad, but really I wanted the triple macaroni and cheese, triple baked with steak on the side. But okay, I'll have
Yeah.
chicken Caesar salad because that's what nice women eat.
Mm.
And then just little things like that. And it would play in my
Yeah.
head, and I'd be so resentful because I'd be thinking, this is so unfair. And then I remember one boyfriend saying to me, like, oh, you're so, I remember talking about a subject, and we were down the pub, funny enough. And I was just talking out loud about something I knew. It was about countries and whatnot. And they just said, shush, shush, shush. Said, you're like, basically shut me down and said, I can't remember the wording. And if he ever listens to this podcast, he'll know who he is. He basically said, no, you're a woman. Like, what do you know?
Mm.
And kind of made me look stupid in front of everyone else, as if I didn't know what I was talking about.
That's awful.
And that was patriarchy. Like that's sad. I'm sad for him because that was his he obviously has been brought up
Yeah.
to think that way. He's been conditioned to think that's how things are. And also I've had other things like, you're so strong, but it was never said in a positive. It's always said in a negative, like, oh, you're insanely strong for a girl. And I am strong. And I'd be like, that's a good thing.
Good
So
thing.
then I started I think when my marriage broke down, and that was around the time you and I met online, was I had almost like a second awakening from one I had when I was younger, was when I was like, why can nothing work out? Why are my relationships always breaking down? Why can I not find a job that fits? Like, why can I not be happy? That was the question. Why am I not happy
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
doing a 9 to 5 job and leading a mon
A
I'm not
normal muggle
a
life.
normal muggle life and just being happy with it? Why am I never happy? Why can't I be happy? And then we went into lockdown, and during that time I was on my own, which was great, and I was here for most of the time. And I remember sitting in the garden one day, and I just thought, you know what? It's none of those guys I was with. I've dumbed myself down to be with people that aren't not only not good enough, but don't respect how resourceful I am. Like, they don't
Yeah.
appreciate my gifts. Like, I
Yeah.
am super resourceful. I might not be able to count to 100
Yeah. Or spell,
or
but we're
spell
all right.
correctly or even pronounce words correctly.
Yeah. Oh,
But,
that's awful.
I'm terrible for pronouncing words. But, I am so multi-resourceful and so gifted in other ways. And that, I know that sounds like, oh, you're not very humble, Marisela, but that's taken years for me
Yeah.
to really acknowledge, actually,
Excuse me.
I've got a lot to offer.
Mm.
And so under a full moon, under your guidance, and you already knew I was going to meet Sean,
Yeah.
I wrote down nothing to do with, it was the first time I realized nothing to do with ego. It had to
Yeah.
do with, how do I want this person to make me feel? So nothing
Yeah.
about
Not
look.
about what car he drives and how much
No,
he's in. It is
I
about
did.
height. We have to put height on that list.
Well, I can't remember if I put height, but because I'm 5'1", everyone tends to be a
Everyone's
lot
yeah.
taller than me. But, so that is never an issue, but I understand it might be for others. But I wrote down all of the qualities I was looking for in a person and how I wanted to feel. And I recited it like mantra. I held my rose quartz, my crystals, And I remember it was like prayer. I was
Yeah.
praying and I
Yeah.
recited word for word what I wrote down. And I tell some of my clients this, I actually recite it to them to show them.
Mm.
And I said, and I prayed hard and I just said, I'm ready to meet my lover, my soulmate, my best friend. We're going to laugh so hard. He's going to appreciate my gifts, all of these things. And then I met Sean, and the rest is history.
And you're engaged.
And we're engaged. So there is, I
Mhm.
think when you are so determined and you put your energy and your wishes, manifestation it's not a woo-woo thing. It's true. People don't like the word manifestation because it's
Yeah.
not like goals or targets, but they're the same things.
Yeah. Well, I think people
Have
are
a
like flying around the social media now, isn't it? Is that everyone wants to manifest everyone. And it's quite,
mm,
I find that quite, I don't know, it's not how it used to be. It's good that people are accepting it, but it's just this, oh, just I'm going to manifest this. And like, but do you really want it? It's very superficial what they're manifesting. It's
yeah,
not with any magic behind it.
yeah,
It's a
yeah.
lot of that going on.
And I think there is now, I think there is
Yeah.
where people are really questioning actually, and it's frightening and I understand it, but I think people are questioning the way they are living,
Yeah.
who they're
It's
spending their
fun.
time with.
Yeah. And if those people deserve their energy, that's
Yeah,
a big thing.
yeah. And I
Mm.
think that is really, I'm very excited. I can't tell you why. I just because I don't have a reason, but I've got like a buzzy energy for 2025. I think there
Yeah.
is a different, I know there's a lot of things going on in the world right now that are really sort of questionable and
Mhm.
upsetting a lot of people. But like most things, things will change. The wheel will
Yeah.
change. And I think we are coming into definitely a different and much better for everybody, for the
Yeah.
diverse range. It's not
Yeah.
just select few this time.
It's
And
funny with my clients, I keep getting over and over it, maybe each of them this week, last week, 2025 to 2027. This
yeah,
period of like literally stripping back, transformation, stepping forward. It's beautiful.
yeah,
I mean, some of these women are going to go through some heavy stuff because they're
yeah,
just about to do the work. So I think the people who have done the work and then they get to 2025, it's now the time to set things in motion, align your actions and go for things. But the people who haven't done the work, I think it's quite you're going to go through
yeah.
this door and, yeah, but it's exciting.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel, and I
Yeah.
think it's the way I'll describe it is a bit like a garden term because, as you know, I'm very green fingered, but it's like a rewilding.
Yeah.
We're not being, if you think of a park is very well maintained. The
Mm,
pathways have to be clear. Everything around a seating area and a bin has to be clear, and the edges clipped, and the bush has to look good, and
mm.
everything's dead-headed, and everything's preened within an inch of its life, strangling
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah.
Nature wants to be wild, and we're a part of that nature. We're
Mm,
not separate. We're not supposed to be contained or kept within boundaries. We're supposed to experience everything. And the beauty of the cosmology behind the sun signs, moon signs, rising signs is that we've all come here and we've got this divine, and it is divine because we can't explain it. But we've all got, air signs, fire signs, earth
mhm.
signs, water signs. They're not just you haven't just been assigned an element just willy-nilly. You're here to bring that energy into the world. And it's supposed to, it flows like music, like poetry.
Yeah.
But the patriarchy and the witch wound, especially, that's been so painful for humankind for hundreds of years because people now have inherited their
Yeah.
generational fears. ancestors' fears because we pass it on.
Yeah.
And I think that is now that's what I feel has really shifted. Like I'm really excited that people are, doing wild stuff in their 20s that people when I was 20, I wished I'd
Yeah.
had the courage to go and take up some land and try and live off it because
Yeah.
you've got the energy, you've got the
Yeah.
naivety, which makes you brave and less fearful. But actually, there is less to fear because it's more accepted now,
Yeah. Yeah. When you look
you
at,
know?
yeah.
So, and funny enough, I remember saying to my dad when I was 18, I was going to join Greenpeace because I'd seen on the TV that they
I
were
think everyone
harpooning.
wanted to at that age, didn't they? We're like,
Oh, well, yeah, definitely.
yeah,
I had a real point to prove, and I was like,
yeah,
this is wrong. I can't believe
yeah,
these whales are being harpooned. I'm going to
yeah,
harpoon the Japs. And I was
yeah,
really, I was very vengeful then. And I remember my dad, and my dad is a lovely man. He's so straight as a die and always has your best, like has my best interest. But he has always lived on within the boundaries. He's lived along that path that
yeah,
has, the path part that I've been
yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
He doesn't come off that path.
No,
And he stays on that path. And I remember him saying to me, you're not joining Greenpeace, Marisela, because that is a terrorist organization and
wow.
you'll never be able to get a job for life. And it was done. I
Yeah,
I was 18, couldn't, I suppose for some people that's like you're 18, you could have done what you wanted. No, not in my family. That wasn't,
mm,
I couldn't do that. And I wouldn't have done that to my parents.
yeah,
If they felt that strongly about it, that
yeah,
was like off the table then. Okay.
yeah,
So that is in a way of what would have happened had I done it? What experience would I've got? So sometimes I don't have any
yeah.
regrets in anything.
But you've
I try,
really been silenced a lot.
yeah, I have massively.
Yeah.
And I
Or
know,
what you've got to speak isn't important. So people have stopped you, you know?
yeah, yeah,
Mm,
yeah, which is I think I mean is laughable because I'm such a chatterbox now and I talk in front of people all the time
yeah,
in classes on camera. But if you'd asked 9-year-old Marisela, who couldn't even get up on stage at school to do her recorder recital properly because I was crying too much because I didn't want to speak, that I would be public speaking when I was older or talking in front of a gathering of women or teaching retreats, I would have laughed. I would, no,
yeah,
never me.
yeah,
I don't like being center of attention. But and even now I get very I'm triggered if my partner talks loudly to me in front of other people. He just speaks loud anyway, but if we are having some kind of disagreement in the back garden, I my first thought is who's in their back garden, who can hear us? So I'm always like shh.
mm,
So it's weird how
yeah,
sometimes it's a mask.
yeah,
If I want,
yeah,
I don't want anyone to know that we're having an argument right now. And it won't even be
yeah,
anything big. It will just be
yeah.
a disagreement about something. But I'm very aware of who's listening. And that's a
Mm.
fear that I haven't yet quite
You're getting there. You've got an
I'm
awareness over it, and that's the beauty part of it. I think lots of
yes.
women don't have the awareness that they even think like that. That's
No.
the step.
Yeah. It's what I'm working on. It's weird, Emma. I just feel there's always because as a green witch, I'm always aware of the turning of the wheel. Like my life's a big spiral and we're all in this delicate spiral together. But whenever life is still, it's like I'm like a beaver. I want to push that dam. I
Yeah,
don't want the dam to stay up. I want it down. And I hate feeling blocked. I'm very aware of blocks in my life. And if
mm,
something comes along and I feel, okay, that no, you can't tell me I can't do that because I might want to do that.
Yeah. Or I'll find a way to do it.
Or I'll find a way to, yes.
That's you.
Yeah, yeah, there'll be some way. I'll get through, don't you worry. So,
Mm.
yeah, but that's,
Within your circles or your clients or anything like that, when you see, especially when you see a group of women together, because we always talk about the witch wound like individually, do you see the witch wound come up in a gathering of women? Do you see that wound represented there?
yes, in circles, you find even when everyone's had a moment to themselves and we're sitting in silence and they're journaling, and it might be, for example, coming through into autumn, and we're releasing and we're going through a ceremony of in the autumn equinox, we're wanting to shed. So I'll ask what, please write down what you'd like to shed, and if you're happy to share, we're going to share. And even though some of the women are complete strangers to each other, it's that realization for them. It's not for me because I know this, but how similar, and how,
Yeah.
they all have the same things, the same burdens. They might be at different stages in their lives, because I have maiden mothers, wise women, and crones come
Yeah.
in, but the different they'll all have the different types of losses, and they'll all experience it. And then you'll find another woman in the group might pipe up, and she might be a crone, and she'll just say, oh, I went through that years ago. You'll be absolutely fine. Let me tell you, just,
Yeah.
what you need to do. And so she's
Yeah.
given guidance to this young maiden who's experiencing heartbreak for the first time in her life. And
Yeah.
that's so beautiful, because that's healing the witch
I love
wound.
that. I love
Yeah,
that.
it's amazing.
But
It's
even like when I mean you've come to circles and stuff with me, and even my Holly, who's how old is Holly? 25, she sometimes gives somebody in their late 60s advice. And I sort of look back at that and I think the wisdom there from someone who's younger, who's like just starting finding out who they are, that's beautiful to watch.
yeah,
But watching these women put their and share openly, you see them like croaky voices and they don't want to look at any other woman they come in. But I think it's that support of these women sat in circle, witnessing and
yeah,
holding space for them to do that. When they actually say it out loud, it's always emotional. It's always,
yeah,
everyone's like got a tear, or they're like, "Oh, I didn't know you had that feeling, or I didn't know you had that fear." And
yeah.
it's a beautiful moment.
It's the moment they feel fully safe.
Mm,
So when it only happens, I believe, when someone feels safe with the company that they're in,
mm,
and they think, you know what, I'm ready to speak my truth and
yeah,
say it. And they say it. And everyone responds to truth in a really positive way. When someone's being authentic
yeah,
and truthful with you, the energy transference is very different to as when you lie to somebody. Because if you lie, what you're doing is creating a story in your head, and you've told the other person, but you have to tell it in a convincing way. So already you're kind of panicked,
yeah,
because I'm telling you this lie and this complete fib, but do you believe me? I hope I'm being convincing enough. But strip that back and say what you truly feel. The energy that floods your
yeah,
way
yeah.
is tenfold. So that is really beautiful. And I always make a joke with my women that come, because I use plant medicines, and it can take me either 1 or 2 days to brew up the plant medicines, pending on the theme of the circle. But if I'm wanting them to open up their hearts, then I'm using plant medicines that are going to relax the nervous system, that is going to allow that
Yeah,
truth to come forward, for them to be almost, I hate this word because it sounds like I'm drugging people,
like a
but
little bit high.
yeah, to sedate your nerves, and to,
Your circles sound great.
Oh, they are. They're amazing. I love doing them and I love what comes out of them. For, like you said, you can learn so much. It doesn't matter where on the wheel of life you are, whether you're a 26-year-old Holly,
Yeah,
a mermaid for sure, or a crone,
yeah,
you can, we all learn from each other.
yeah.
There is a beautiful there's a beautiful like thread that runs through us all. And now I know this comes up a lot is we, especially over where I live, Emma, age is such, I mean, we see it on social
Oh
media.
yeah, it's
People are so frightened about aging.
and the
And
menopause. Everyone's terrified of it, which makes you panic. 'Cause I'm 49 on I'm 49 on Tuesday. So yeah, I'm 48 right now.
Aquarius, yes, you're Aquarius, aren't you? Ah, amazing. Happy
So
birthday for
thank
then.
you.
I'll message you anyway then.
Thank you. So it's like the last year of my 40s, but I never thought I'd get to 40. So I've learned even more in this decade. So I'm actually looking forward to the 50s and the 60s. And what I like seeing in my face age. I like seeing my body change shape or fluctuate. It doesn't really bother me because to me, when I was a size, well, when I was like 7 stone, I was ill. And I remember going to fetch my kids from school, like Harry's in primary school, and the mums there were like, "Oh, you look amazing, Emma. You look amazing. You lost so much weight. What diet are you on?" And I was like, "It's called cancer. You're like, that's why I look like I do." But
Gosh,
but
yeah.
society were like, "Oh my God, you're amazing. You look incredible." And you just think, no, this is not how I want to be anyway. But
But don't you think, Emma, that's to do again,
yeah, society.
that's a witch
It's a
wound.
wish
It's
ring. Yeah,
society.
yeah,
Because that is some darker force putting it
yeah,
in our heads
yeah,
through film, through media, through every way they can get it out there.
yeah,
Like their network is so tight that they
yeah,
can reach an audience in
yeah,
seconds, well, minutes maybe,
yeah.
let a whole generation or two
Mm.
be completely revolted by their bodies.
Yeah, and I think somebody I watched it recently, a lovely guy actually, who I want on here, um, he shared that obviously in the 90s were really shoved in our face that you had to dress a certain way, you had to be really thin. It's all the waif and all of that, wasn't it? So I think we have probably more hung-ups in that. I mean, I'm older than you, but and now it's like you cannot have a wrinkle. You've got to have all this stuff.
We have
Fair
the
enough,
Botox.
if you want to have all this stuff in your face, but
Yeah.
it's, I don't disagree with it, and I don't want it personally, but because I like seeing, if you do my moisturizer and I put mascara on, you've got the mirror there, and I've got a magnifying mirror 'cause my eyes are different now, but I get glimpses of my mum, or I get glimpses
Oh,
of my nan, and I really like seeing that. That's because I'm
yes.
aging.
Oh, that's so
You know what
beautiful.
I
I
mean?
love
It's
that.
lovely seeing that, where if I had all this stuff done, I
Yeah.
wouldn't look like Emma anymore. It'd be
Yeah.
really weird.
I just wouldn't want to put anything in my body that I'm not, it's not natural.
Yeah.
It's not me. It's not, aging is part of nature's process. And I've made an oath to myself
Yeah.
and Mother Earth that I would do no harm. And
Yeah.
that includes to myself because, eventually when I die and my bones return to the ground and she recycles me, I want there to be only good stuff that can be then
Yeah.
recycled back. So I know that's not everyone's path, but that is my path and that's my belief. And so it's really important for me that I look after, this is my body. Well, it's my body. I'm a guardianship of this body at the
Yeah.
moment, but eventually it will be returned to the
Yeah.
earth, or the air, or the water, or fire, and it has to be pure in my mind.
Yeah. I do have my roots done. So that's probably
Oh no, so do I. So
Ah.
do I.
They're a bit toxic there.
complete hypocrite. I'm going into grey blending and stuff like that. And I wear makeup and there's
Yeah.
things that
There's this fear, the fear of aging. That's what we're talking
yeah.
about, whether we put makeup on or do our hair or whatever, that's just to make us feel how we want to feel. It's like another energetic thing.
Yeah.
I love that, like clothes, when you wake up in the morning, like how do I want to be today? And choose
Mm,
a dress or a jumper or sweatpants, whatever you want, gives you that
yeah.
extra layer. And yeah, that's another conversation. But I think this fear of the menopause as well. Like I said to
Mm,
Steve the other night, I said, I think I'm actually in the menopause. I'm not perimenopausal now. I'm actually in it. And to me, I know lots of people go through horrendous things. And my doctor told me when I was 30 that I would probably find it hard if I got to this point. But it's funny. Like the hot flushes, yeah, that's quite difficult. I'm not used to that, and I'm a very cold-blooded person. So, but I'm trying to sort of like letting that take over me and make fun of it and make it more light-hearted. It's like it's okay. It's not going to be for the rest of my life. It's just this chapter, and if I can just get through this chapter, then what am I going to be like afterwards? It's going to gain more wisdom, more expansion, more growth.
yes.
So I look at it as more like it might be challenging, but it might be fun.
You've entered a new room.
Yeah,
You're just working your way through this room. Oh, I think
yeah,
that's
yeah.
beautiful.
And I like that. I think it's going to
Yeah.
be quite fun. I might not be saying that in a couple of years' time.
I know. If we change our minds, you might have to pull this podcast down so no one can pull us up
But
on it.
right now,
No, absolutely. I think that's what I mean. It's conversations like this though that are, people who might be listening would really like it will resonate with them and it might
yes,
spark an idea and spark a thought because I
mm,
think sometimes we think we know what we want, but
yes,
actually look at you've only got to pick up your phone and see what you're being bombarded with, you
yeah,
know, skincare regimes,
yeah,
aesthetics,
yeah,
slimming down
yeah.
injections. And you think, okay,
Injections,
that's why I want it. This is why,
yeah.
because this
Chin
has been
lifts,
slowly
boob
put
lifts,
in.
it's all this stuff that you can just go shopping. You can go and have this done in your half-hour lunch hour. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but then also at 20, like Holly's age, are actually going to have these treatments done. I'm
Yeah.
like, you're just a fresh canvas. You haven't got any of the adventures I've got on my face. I'm like, you're just completely fresh. It's
But
really
like,
sad that they think they've got to do that to feel loved, to feel accepted, exactly how we were in high school.
yeah.
20-year-olds are like at that stage, aren't they?
But
That's really
that's
beautiful.
the message of, when you said about
Mm.
because you don't know what's going on. That comment to you in the school playground,
Yeah.
that person was looking at you thinking at the time, oh my God, she
Yeah.
looks amazing. I'm going to let
I
her know.
want to do that. I want to do that diet.
I want to do whatever she's doing
Yeah.
because of whatever programming she's had. But
Yeah.
in your mind, your mortality
Yeah.
was being threatened. And
Mm.
that puts a whole nother spin on things because
Yeah.
when you are faced with your end,
Mm.
it's or could and it's premature because
Yeah.
it's an illness, everything. I think there is a shift that happens again. Once again, you've been through many journeys, I know, but that is again a different awakening because
Yeah.
you know
Yeah. It literally wakes you up and you
it
have to
literally wakes
make
you up.
decisions. You have like a decision whether am I going to accept that or do I want different
Because no
path?
one actually thinks, I don't think it's very usual, but we're not taught when we're young. Oh my God, it's not celebrated or talked about like this to us at school or in
Mm.
our friendship groups. Oh my God, why don't we draw what we hope to look like when we're old? And let's,
Yeah.
you know, how will we have like grey wild hair and
Yeah.
be living in a tree
Yeah.
house, or will we go off around the world, or
Yeah.
what will what will our what will our wisdom be like? Think of all the journeys, all the experiences.
Yeah.
It's never painted in that light.
No.
you
Yeah,
know,
or it has to be this old lady with short white hair and wearing
yeah,
like yeah, there's that. You can't be this. You might want to wear leopard skin or bright pink colors and loads of jewelry and smoke a cigarette and drink champagne and you might be
yeah,
that side.
yeah. I know there is a lot of unlearning that I think we have to go through, and this kind of work does enable us to reach people,
Yeah, I'm,
especially
I'm all
women.
about
I mean,
finding the authentic self.
yeah, oh, of
Yeah.
course. Like,
It's
I
the
think
key
there's
to
a
everything, isn't it? It's the key to everything. Like you stepping in your authentic path led you to the path of healing, but it
yeah,
also led you to your awakening of this is me,
yeah,
the partner I want, this is the life I want, this is how why I'm here, this is my purpose.
yeah.
It was a key to everything.
I'm doing this, I think you'd love this, Emma. I'm doing as part of my final year studies,
Yeah.
I'm doing this project that will turn, it wasn't supposed to, but it's probably going to be another offering from me.
Mm.
Um, so I'm going to devise some medicine that is going to be especially for women who have experienced miscarriages or pregnancy or infant loss. And it's also for women that, for whatever reason, haven't been able to have the birthing experience, let's say. And it's a way of, so I'm still in the premature stages, but it's a way of women to experience fertility and growth outside of their physical body. So it can be nurturing. So, like I said, I'm at the moment, I'm very blessed. I've got three gardens essentially, because I'm an end of terrace. So I've got a big side garden where the Herbie hut
Mm.
is, and a big front garden. And I'm going to rewild the lot of it. Like, it's going to be a medicinal garden. There's going to be flowers growing. There's going to be herbs for all sorts of medicines that you can come and pick. Like, if you're walking past my
I'm
house,
coming round. Okay. I'm coming to stay at yours.
help yourself. But then there's going to be an offering of things like, it's just come clear to me now. It's things like giving advice or tips on how to, what you could message or
Yeah.
um, text a friend when they've gone through something like that, like a miscarriage or pregnancy loss or infertility, because sometimes it's our language that people have such beautiful intentions, but sometimes you don't know what to say. So you end up saying nothing. But the person on the other side of it is going through grief. And it's
Yeah.
a grief that,
Yeah.
never leaves.
Yeah. Or they say, you can try again.
Oh, that's the worst. That is the worst.
It's
Try,
okay. It's
better
okay.
luck next time.
Try
You're
again.
like, "Ah." But
Mm. I think
it's
that's beautiful.
it's a type of medicine, and there's going to be a guided meditation. There's going to be like a gift that
Mm.
you can send out. So you won't necessarily receive it, but you just say, order the pregnancy loss package, say something like that, and then I would come up with the medicine. You can see what the medicine is, but that box or
That's
that gift would
lovely.
be sent out to that person with your message,
Mm.
and then they get to experience a type of healing. So there'll be a plant medicine, that could be a tea, an infusion that helps them just settle into, okay, this has happened, and
Yeah.
it's hard, but it's going to nourish your body, flood your body with nourishment, and then hopefully there'll be, things like nice things that they can self-love with. So I haven't worked out all of the
That's
details, but
beautiful.
it's an offering like that anyway. um because I think that's really needed. We talk about, we do talk about women wanting to get pregnant. We talk about, there's so much on the internet for
Talk
women
about them being mums.
being mums. There's
Yeah.
loads of that. There's not a lot for postpartum, so that's quite
Yeah.
interesting. But for
But
the
it's
women that
nothing.
never
There's
get there,
nothing. Yeah.
there's no
Nothing.
exactly. There's nothing for
Yeah.
postpartum. But for women who actually never get there, they're kind of just, it's it's kind of like, oh, well, you've reached the menopause, say, and that's it. Sadly, that's, your time is up. And
Yeah.
then nothing's mentioned. Well, actually, it's just like anything. It's a grieving process. So there are ways and things that you can do to help soothe that pain and to nurture the body into a way of healing. So, and we all know time is a healer. Things do get softer and kinder when time goes on, whatever grief.
Mm-hmm. That's
So,
beautiful.
yeah, that's
So,
kind of
what is your last sort of words of wisdom? Say anybody's sort of listening to this and holding themselves back, trying to fit in. What's your last words of wisdom for them to how they can heal this witch wound?
trying to fit in. Oh, the hardest one. I would say to them to really sit with, take a moment out of your day, out of your month, even, and set time aside where you're not going to be disturbed and really, really sit with yourself and how you feel about things that are going on in your current life. Start there, like what you're hearing on the news, what are your living conditions like, what is your work relationships and work conditions like, and how do you feel about every point. And if you feel like if you find that you don't have positive things to say and you find you're more sort of, you're looking at that list and you're thinking, okay, I work this 9 to 5 job. I'm hoping for a pay rise, but the hours are really like long, and also my relationship's suffering, but I really want the pay rise. Then that's when you need to decide, why do you want the pay rise? Is more money gonna help
Yeah,
you repair the relationships? So you have to work out yourself. Sadly, no one else can do this for you. That's why I say take some
yeah,
time out when you can be in quiet, and to go and take a walk somewhere or sit in your car. You can do this anywhere, but you need to really look at your life of like from a different lens. In fact, a good way that I teach in my circles, if I go into Andean medicine,
hmm,
is we work with the archetypal animals and the directions. And if we go into the direction of the east, which is air, and the eagle is a bird of prey that soars really high, circles so high above the earth, and it has the most extraordinary sight. It looks down and it can see a mouse from miles away, like up in the air, can see a mouse on the land, but it can also see the snow leopard or the
yeah,
the cat that's hiding just in the bushes, that's ready to
yeah,
pounce. So the bird obviously knows, okay, that's a threat, there's a problem, I'm going to look further. As it opens its perspective, it opens its eyes.
mm,
So we can use the same analogy in our own lives, is have a bird's eye view down on your life, and with a sheet of paper. I'm very visual. I like to see
yeah,
things
yeah, me
like you.
too.
And I think that's the way it,
Mm,
to me, it makes sense if I map out what's happening. And I would say, okay, this is happening,
mm,
but what's the common thread here is that I keep circling back to here. Okay, this is the problem. I need to change this in
yeah.
my life.
Being
Being
honest with
honest,
yourself.
it
Mm,
really requires honesty, because if you don't, you've got to
mm,
think. And I think there's a lady called Florence Given on Instagram, and she's got this book called Women Living Deliciously.
mm.
It's a fab book, but she talks about, like, this is your life. Like, you're not going to get this
Not gonna get a
time back.
second chance. Yeah,
This not so every moment you spend doing something that doesn't fill you with joy or doesn't have a means to an end. So not
yeah,
every second is going to be filled with joy, but you
yeah.
know,
But we can
it
make
doesn't.
more choices.
Yes,
Mm.
then why are you doing it? Question it. Because are you doing it because it's expected of you, or can you change it? and just change it.
Yeah. Especially if it feels fearful. Always step through that fear.
Yes,
Mm.
Jaguar medicine. I love that. That is real sort of prancing and just going for, going for it. I love that. I really do.
Mm.
Yeah, so I would say you definitely need to take a bit of time. It's not going to be done overnight. And if you do, let me know how you done it
Yeah.
because it's taken me years and
Yeah.
still
We want more
now.
18-year-olds to start
Yeah,
having conversations like this and sharing how they've done it, because it probably make the world a much better
absolutely.
place.
Absolutely. And you know what? It doesn't matter. Like even now, I've got people on Instagram on my account who will message me privately, but they'll laugh. They put a laughing sign next to my stories. If I said, oh, I'm bathing my crystals in the moonlight, it'll be
Yeah.
like a ha ha. You know what? That's on them. It's not for me. I mean, this is new Marisela talking, but old Marisela would have been like, oh my God, like, oh, they think I'm really bizarre and weird, and I'll better best take that post down. But that's just them not really
Yeah.
understanding.
It's not
Not
your story.
it's not my story. Like, hey, you can hang around, and if
Hmm.
you've got the time to waste to comment on my stories because that
Yeah.
makes you feel good, then
Mhm.
good for you. But I haven't got time to respond.
No.
Yes. Bye. So, and that comes, that's taken years to build up the confidence to be like that. That's not just, I've not always been like that. And I
No.
understand it's hard, but I
It's a
think
part of life.
the minute you start being truthful to yourself and the people around you, start speaking about what you're into, like don't hide it from them.
Then you can manifest as well your true desires, and then you get your life that you're wanting a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And have signs, like leave signs out for, as in my family, Sean and his daughter who live with me, yes, this space is my space, and they don't come in it very often. They might come in just for a quick chat, but this is my space, and they know all sorts of stuff is going on in here. But when I'm at home and I'm walking around with my Palo Santo and I'm going into each room, they don't question it because they just know, oh, that's how Marisela is. And
mm,
if they have questioned it, I just tell them up straight.
yeah,
This is
yeah, yeah. It's not
I've
right.
already cleansed the room. I'm now sweetening the energy and I'm inviting that in for all of us. And they're just like, okay.
Just carry on. Oh,
I'm
thank
like,
you
as
so
you,
much for this. You're an absolute gem. You've given lots of inspiration, lots of beautiful conversation. So thank you.
thank you for having me on. So lovely to see you.